He's under the boat. Come here, buddy. This is a bigger one. This is a much bigger one. Hey, Dusty.
G'day team, welcome back to the channel. My name's Tony, and as always, this is the Mighty Overlander. Now, first off, sorry that there hasn't been much content lately. Unfortunately, I've been a little bit under the weather, feeling better now, and really busy. But today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're in the garage to start with, and we're going to be going over one of the new pieces of kit that I've got for my fishing and camping experience, and that is the Hobie Lynx fishing kayak. Now, the first part of this video, we'll go over some of the specifications and exactly how I've got it set up here in the garage, and then we're going to head out onto the water, and Dusty and I are going to be doing a bit of a fish on the dam and hopefully pick up some Redfin perch, so I can do a bit of a field test and give you some pros and cons while we're out there. Now, before we go too much further, I'd just love to give a big shout out to the guys at Getaway Outdoors Cockburn. Shane and the team there have absolutely bent over backwards for me when it comes to putting this kayak system together. Now, I've paid for everything here, but they've just got the best customer service, huge range, and they really did help me out a lot. So thanks very much to Shane and the team, and if you're in that local area, head down and give them a check out. They even sell a fair bit of that wild track stuff that I use as well. All right, so first off, we're going to go over all of the specifications and everything like that of the Hobie Lynx, and then I'm going to tell you how I've got the kayak set up for my specific kind of fishing. And after we do that, we're going to head out into the water and hopefully catch some fish. Dusty's got his brand new PA14 as well, so he'll be out there with me, and we'll see how we go. All right, team, first off, let's have a look at those specifications. All right, so let's start with a few measurements. Now, when it comes down to the Hobie Lynx, it is roughly 3.35 meters in length and about 91 centimeters in width, or if you're into the devil's measurement, about 11 foot in length and about 36 inches wide. Now, when it comes down to weight, however, that was one of the big pluses for me. It's only about 20.5 kilos when completely unrigged, and just under about 28 kilos when it's set up with its standard rigging. Now, this means for me, it's considerably easier to get on and off the car roof, and I've got a bit of a dodgy back, so I always want the lightest gear possible. It's probably something you notice about a lot of the gear, in particular my camping gear. I try and get the lightest stuff out there. Now, for weight capacity, you can stock up about 158 kilos roughly. That includes yourself and gear. Now, I weigh about 75 kilos, so I've got about 75 kilos of gear that I can actually load up onto it. And it is a solid foam core kayak. Now, because it's that solid foam core kayak, that's what makes it extremely light, but it does have a bit of a downside, and I'll talk about that during the pros and cons section. The construction is what they call the ACE technology, I believe, and that basically gives you a solid foam core with about 5 or 6 layers of, you know, fiberglass and thermoplastics and everything like that, to make it very durable but still maintain that rigidity and lightness as well. With all of the accessories that you get with the actual base model, you're looking at your paddle, your double fin paddle, the Mirage Drive 180, your seat, and also a cup holder. As part of it, you've obviously got your rudder system, which makes it extremely nimble. It's a huge rudder system, and they both lock into the chair. But the thing about the Lynx is that it's more of a fitted for but not with fishing kayak. So it has the capability of being a fishing kayak, but out of the box it isn't really. So there's no rod holders or anything like that straight out of the box. Now, one thing it does have is a transducer mount, so if you do want to turn it into a fully fledged fishing kayak like I have done, then you've actually got a nice protected little spot here for the fishing kayak and a scupper hole to run all of your cables, which is brilliant. And you've also got the little scupper holes at the back to have your Hobie cart as well, to make it considerably easier once loaded up to wheel it down to the water, and that's brilliant. But like I said before, there is a few things that you need to do to this kayak to really make it a fully fledged fishing kayak. And that's what we're going to quickly go through now. I'll go over to the kayak and we will go through the gear that I've got, and we'll start from front to back and cover those 3 main areas that you need to kind of add those accessories to in order to make it that awesome fishing kayak that it can be. And those 3 areas are storage, rod holders, and then the mounts for everything as well. All right, let's go have a look. All right, team. So like I said, there are those 3 areas that you do need to address when it comes down to the Hobie Lynx to make it a little bit better in regards to being a fishing kayak. Now, whilst it does come with the standard black tracks that you can see down here, they aren't really big enough to mount all of your rod holders and all of that kind of stuff. So the first thing that you really do need to do is sort out mounting options. And this comes down to the H rail systems that I've got here. Now the H rails, there's 2 kinds. You've got the ones that go longitudinally. Basically they are the Hobie Lynx set, the specific one, and this extra one that I've got up the front here, that's actually I think from an Outback or something like that, and it just happens to go really well across here. But what this does is it gives you all of the area that you need in regards to mounting all of the other things like rod holders and everything like that. So like I said, because it doesn't come with any like inbuilt rod holders or anything, you do have to sort that one out for yourself. So now that you've got your mounting options sorted with the H rails, the other thing to do is then get the rod holders and other accessories mounted. All right, so as you can see, I've got 3 rod holders set up on this kayak. Now, I've gone with the Railblazer sets for my 2 trawling holders. These are absolutely brilliant. They can lock themselves in, and it just gives a little bit of control in regards to making sure that they're swiveled into the right direction, so I'm not putting undue pressure on my rods. And then I've got this 3rd one over here, and this is called a ram tube, and that's from Ram Mount. And the thing about this one, it's basically just exactly what it sounds like, just a big tube. And when I hook onto a fish, you'll see me just throw the rod straight down into the tube, and that allows me to get my hands free to deal with my catch and everything like that, which is brilliant. Mainly because in the past I've tried to either lay the rod down and there just isn't the space next to the seat, or I've tried to get it back into the trawling holder and I've just kind of been all over the place. So this allows me to, once I've got the landing net out, I've put me catch at my feet, I can just dump that rod there, open the bail, and then I'm free to work with that fish and get it off the hook, return it back, or if it's something that I'm going to keep, I will do that. Now I've also got my fish finder. I've got a Lowrance Hook 5 mounted on the starboard side there, and the thing I really like about these H rails is they've actually got this slotted track in the top, which means that I can actually hide all of my cables for my Lowrance fish finder in that track as well. On the starboard side here, I've also got one of these little tackle bins, and that's basically just kind of like a spot that I can throw spare lures and stuff like that. I've also got a spot there for my scissors, and it just is just one of those handy little tackle bins that I can just, you know, oh, not going to use that lure anymore, just dump it in there while I'm trying to sort all of my stuff out, which is awesome. Up the front, I've got my GoPro mount. Now with the GoPro mount, that one is a Railblazer as well. Like, so most of the stuff other than the ram tube is Railblazer. So with the GoPro mount, the reason why I've gone with this particular setup with the swing arm and also the bit of articulation in the holder there is originally I tried putting it at the front and like in the center, and what that did was the pedals got in the way, but you're also looking straight at my shorts, and no one wants to look up Tony's shorts, believe me. So what I did was I put it on this swing arm, and that enabled me to get some good shots across the kayak, and you got a little bit more of the action in the wide view, so hopefully you'll enjoy that footage later on. Now I've also got a Railblazer phone holder here. Most of the places that I've been going lately, I've still had phone reception, so I can actually, when I'm chilling out and I'm not filming, I throw some headphones in and I just listen to some podcasts, or even if I'm out of reception, listen to some chilled out music, and I can just go for a fish and happy days. Over this side, I've got my cup holder. Now, I have got a separate cup holder to the one that normally sits here on the chair. The one that was sitting here on the chair kind of got in the way a bit and bounced around. So I've actually got the more sturdy one for the H-rail clip, and that sits over the edge here on the H-rail. Then I've also got this tackle bin here on the back. Now this is starting to move into the storage component of the 3. So that was our mounts, and then we've got all of our rod holders and those kinds of accessories. And now we're going to be starting to look at that storage. because one of the things about this particular kayak is because of that solid foam construction, you have no in-hull storage. Now, I am very jealous of Dusty with his PA14. He's got a big open spot here in the middle just between his feet with a hatch and stuff, and he can get in there and get all of his stuff. So I've had to come up with different options. So like I said, over this side, I've got a bit of a tackle storage area. I've also got spots for my pliers, and then on the back, that is where the main storage area is going to be, and it's also where I keep my battery, the FPV battery for the Lowrance fish finder. And over here we've got the Hobie crate. Now with the Hobie crate, I do recommend making sure that you've got the cover on the top, because unfortunately I did have a rollover not long ago and I lost everything out of the crate because I didn't have that cover on. It's not going to keep it waterproof, but at least if your gear is in there, it's not going to come flying out. These are really stable in regards to how well they're tied down, clipped down to the actual hull, so that's really good. Now the other thing in regards to storage is also up here. So let's jump up the front. So up here we have got the Hobie medium-sized catch bag. I did try a different catch bag prior to getting this one, which was the Wilderness Systems. Decent enough bag, but I was a bit too ambitious and it was far too big for the kayak. But the Hobie medium catch bag is amazing. Nice and sturdy. It doesn't lose its shape and stuff like that, which is really good. It's quite rigid. But it's also got these 4 little mounting points here that match up to the mounting points on top of the actual kayak deck. And all I did was I used some of these little bungees that I picked up from Bunnings, which is, for those that are watching from overseas, it's like a hardware store here. And they literally just looped into these little 4 corners and then clip down. And it doesn't have to be like super duper like tight, but that's just those 4. And that's, you know, that's not going anywhere. It's basically bungeed into place. Now here and underneath where the crate is, you do have bungee straps when you first buy it. I've taken them off because obviously I'm using different gear here. So if you were wanting to like just throw your jacket or whatever, you can throw that like under those bungees. But if you're going to be using it as a fishing kayak, you'll likely take that off completely and then do that. Apart from that, there's a couple of little things that I've done for myself, which have just been a bit more of a customization thing. Now the first of those is actually for the paddle itself, this bad boy here, because when you put the H rails themselves on, you are unable to use the normal paddle holder that's actually mounted in the side next to the chair, which is a bit more inboard of the actual kayak itself. So what I did was I used a couple of these Railblazer mounts and I actually put them on the standard black track point, and that allowed me to free up more space on the big H rail as well, which is really handy in regards to kind of space management. But it also means that I was able to get my my paddle off to the side and off the actual kind of main deck of the kayak, which allowed me considerably more space. Now the other thing that I've done is I've used a bumper bro on the front to just help the front with any kind of damage from boat ramps or bumping into trees, logs, rocks and things like that on the very nose. And then underneath I've used a heap of Gorilla Tape to just protect those main areas that are abraiding a little bit for mainly boat ramps and stuff like that. Now, yes, the Gorilla Tape isn't, it's not the same as hull keel shield or hull protector or whatever, but it's pretty cheap and it's also strong enough that you're able to put it on there and replace it once every couple of months or even, you know, a couple of times a year if you need to, rather than spending $300-400 on keel shield. A little bit too expensive in my book. Now around the place I've also got quite a few of these, and these little bungee holders. They're just little retainer leashes for my gear. So I've got one for the for my paddle, then I've got one for the 180 drive as well. Now the other thing that I've also got over this other side here is the last bit, and that is my little stand-up assist. It's actually a Max Trax leash, And the reason why I've got that there is just coming from that seated position, you can just grab that and then you can help stand up. Because one of the things about this kayak, it is, funnily enough, particularly stable, especially on the fresh, flat water. And you can stand up and you know, flick from the actual boat quite happily. Apart from that though, guys, that's pretty much how I've got it set up. Oh, one more thing. This is also underneath here. Underneath the seat is where I keep my tackle box. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, the Hobie cart, sorry. So the last thing is the Hobie cart. Now, whilst I'm actually out on the water, this sits in the back, like, you know, top down like this, so the wheels are up here. And then when I'm going into the water or transporting to and from the car, I can pop this out and then it sits basically that way underneath through these scupper holes, and even has a little retaining pin, and that allows you just to kind of like wheel it around. The good thing about the Hobie one is that it's got like a padding and stuff, and it's the right size for the actual holes. There's a heap of other ones out there. I did try them, they were rubbish. I tried a few things that were non-Hobie and they didn't really work out, so overall most of my accessories have been with Hobie. Yeah, look, apart from that, oh, and when it comes down to GoPros, you'll also see me use just a little clip on the hat, like that one, when I'm actually out. So you'll be able to get that kind of angle from the front and also out as well. All right, cool. I think that's about it, guys. It's getting a little bit noisy. I think people are coming home from school. So how about we get out of this noisy garage and we get out on the water. Now, out in the water, I'm going to go through the pros and cons and tell you what I really like and what I potentially not don't like, but some of the cons for me in regards to this particular kayak. But I reckon it's pretty sweet, even after my little rollover, and I'll talk about that out there as well. All right, let's get out there, guys, and let's see if we can catch some fish running for some redfin perch. Enjoy. Hey, all right, team, here we are. So you've already gone through the full setup of the kayak, and now myself and Dusty are down at Harvey Dam. It's just about to be sunrise. We're just in the twilight of sunrise now, and it's a touch colder and a little bit blowier than we thought it was actually going to be. So hopefully we still get some good results. We're down here nice and early so we can maximize our time before it gets too hot. But here we are, Lynx all set up, ready to rumble, and we're going to go over quickly and check out El Dustos. Mate, it's a bit cold, isn't it?
Bloody brisk.
It is brisk. So the PA, it's absolutely ready to rock. I think this is the Bismarck of kayaks, and it's a really good contrast between the Lynx and like the bigger, you know, more capable, certainly more capable ocean going kayaks. Yep. What's your plan today? What are we after?
Just a couple of reddies, I'd say. Happy with any trout we can get, but got to get out of the wind first.
Yeah. So over the other side, there's a pretty snazzy little quarry area. It looks like some sort of old quarry that that we found last time that we were down here, and we used Dusty's side scan on his bloody, you know, nuclear powered bloody submarine sounder over here, and we found a break in an underwater fence that we could get into. So we're going to head over there as well because it's pretty well protected, and we did pretty well there. You got a 35-ish centimetre.
Yeah, which I think is pretty good for a dam ready anyway, but it was good to get in there because I think that's pretty inaccessible for a while, but we must have had a lot of rain that filled up the dam, so we could get in there and get those reddies that have been trapped in there for a while.
That's it. All right, so we're going to get in there, and then I'm going to start going through the pros and cons of the Lynx, and we're also, while we're out there, going to have a quick chat to Dusty about the PA14 and kind of the differences that we can see between, because we've been out together now on the kayaks for the last few weeks. I've had my kayak, like I said before, about 5 months, but Dusty's had his now for a little while. Check out this. Jesus. No swearing, you're on the channel.
It's not too bad once you get out.
The actual water's probably a bit warmer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad.
There we go.
Probably don't even need the wheels, to be honest. You probably
Just slide it out. That's actually now that you've done that. Rubbish, people. Pick up your rubbish. All right, we're going to get out there, and yeah, hopefully we'll have a good day. All right, stay tuned. All right, here we go. Just a quick check of the sounder before we go. We're on. Let's pop that. No. Hold that here. Okay. Here we are. Out of the water. Laughing. So with these pedal type kayaks, you've got to paddle your way out a little bit first so that you've got enough room underneath you for the old pedals. Now just got to get me runners down, and we're off. Let's get that camera going as well, mate. Oh, we're off. Alright. How goes this? Now, you can see over here with Dusty, he sits a little bit deeper into the kayak. So, I mean, the PA14 has got the Vantage. Is it the Vantage chair, mate? Yeah, so he's got the Vantage chair, which is basically the Rancho Relaxo of chairs, and has a lot higher seating position compared to, say, something like the Outback. But as you can see here with the Lynx, you actually sit pretty high anyway, so it's not too bad. Alright, so whilst we're transiting across to the spot where we're going to be doing the majority of our fishing today, we'll have a quick chat about what happened a couple of weeks ago and how that's flavoured my review. So I was off a place called Port Kennedy, just off the beach, and unfortunately I got hit with a bit of side chop, and I'm not talking like a little bit of a ripple like this. It was basically a wave and I went over. Now that in itself was okay, but when I went to flip the kayak back over, I got tangled up, funnily enough, with the pedal drive in between that and my life jacket. So as a result of that, I was a bit cooked, got rescued, lost about $3 grand worth of gear, and yeah, it was definitely a bit of an eye-opener. So I guess what I really took out of that was, you know, the Lynx is a very stable platform for things like this, and you need to kind of be aware of that because you sit quite high and all of your gear is up here. That means that your center of gravity and your in ship stability terms, your center of buoyancy, center of gravity and riding lever tend to be a bit higher. So whilst your center of buoyancy is quite low, your center of gravity is quite high, and that in itself is a bit of a problem because when you get hit by larger waves and stuff like that, you're more likely to go over. And that's essentially what happened. You know, it was unfortunate. That water's quite warm still, isn't it? 21 degrees. That's lovely. So yeah, it was unfortunate, you know, and what it kind of really highlighted for me is, you know, look, at the end of the day, this isn't really an ocean-going kayak. Now, I know that there's going to be some Lynx guys out there who will disagree, and I will admit that there was probably a good combination of bad luck, human error, and inexperience involved. That being said, though, I just feel that this, if you're going to be doing like larger ocean-going type stuff, there is better kayaks out there. For example, that bad boy over there. All right. It doesn't mean that this is a bad kayak at all. As a matter of fact, there are things about this kayak that make it far superior to the big one and there's things about the big one that make it far superior to this. So I'll discuss those pros and cons a bit when we get into the shelter section, so the audio is a little bit better. But yeah, that's kind of what happened there. All right, time to get the lines in. Getting plenty of hits on the sounder, and hopefully we'll be able to pull up some redfin throughout the day. All right, talk to you soon. Oh my god. All right, so we're here. We're in the quarry area. It's way more protected. It's still really windy. We're gonna have to stay here for a few hours, which is, oh well, these things happen when you're fishing. But I just had a bit of an issue there. The wind is rushing from that end of the dam all the way through, and it gets really shallow over there because the dam level is actually considerably higher than it normally is, hence why we're able to come in here and fish inside the quarry. It's like a big mud pan over there, and I just got screamed ashore, and because it was so shallow I couldn't get my pedals back in and I couldn't paddle back out into the wind, so I've had to walk the kayak all the way around. Oh, you know what, I don't think it matters what kayak you've got. If you're in that situation, that's just what it is. All right, so we're in this quarry area. I'm going to get myself sorted, have a bit of a breather, and then I'm going to chase these reddies. So yeah. Oh, and my sounder's all over the place. Oh, what a mission. All right, I'll get back to you in a sec. All right, so now that we're here and things are a little bit quieter, I can actually talk a little bit more about this kayak review. Oh, hang on, might be on already. Yeah, he's on. Oh no. Well, they're definitely down there. So, some of the pros and cons about the Hobie Lynx. Let's start with the cons. So, cons-wise, look, the Lynx is it's almost a hybrid between the stand-up paddleboard and the kayak. And the problem with that is that it is very flat-bottomed, which is a good and a bad thing. The good thing about that is you can get into pretty shallow water with it. As long as the wind isn't blowing your back off, you can actually get into fairly shallow water, take your pedals out, paddle around, and do pretty well with it. The problem with that though is that the water just absolutely crashes over the top of the actual kayak a fair bit, and that in itself is a bit of a pain. But you also get this, you can even hear it now, this slap against the hull, and that can be a little bit annoying, especially funnily enough on the content creation side of things. It makes it a little bit harder to get good audio because there's this constant slapping sound. The big thing that I noticed in particular when I had my issue where I went over is that your weight distribution has to be really good, and if you don't have a good weight distribution kind of set up, you have the potential of going over, because if you get hit by a wave on this side like it happened, you'll lift that edge a bit, and if the wind gets underneath it, then you'll go over, and that's essentially what happened to me last time. Now, look, that was also a combination of being pretty unlucky. That is what it is. I just think that this is not a rough weather kayak. Even today here on the lake with the wind up, it was shocking trying to get across here. Even Dusty was somewhat. He was somewhat, struggling to get across as well, and he's in the PA14, which is just the Bismarck of kayaks. So, definitely not a rough weather kayak. Now, there's going to be a lot of guys out there, especially in the States and stuff, that will say that the Lynx is a perfect ocean-going kayak and there's nothing wrong with it and so on and so forth. Look, I disagree. I think if you're going to be going ocean-going stuff, unless you're sticking to very near coastal, go get yourself a PA14. They're a much better ocean-going kayak. If you do what I do, which is mainly stick to this kind of stuff, it's great. It's perfect, and it's actually got some advantages because of how nimble it is. So definitely not an ocean-going kayak. So the flat bottom means it slaps along a bit and it gets blown around a bit, and the light nature of it means that if you get out in the swell, then you'll get thrown around like a cork, and that can be even dangerous. Now, apart from that, the only other major cons are the actual hull itself it's fairly durable, but it's still a fairly thin skin in relation to, say, something like the PA14, which is quite a thick plastic hull. So you've only got that relatively thin thermoplastic layer on this, which is pretty durable, but you know, if you puncture that, then you've got to do the repairs, because if the water gets in between the thermoplastic and the foam, then you can find yourself in a few issues. And I guess the last kind of con is all of your gear, as you can see, is all here. Now you do have a fairly big deck space, which is good, and I'll talk about that in a moment, but all your gear is up. It's all here. And when the waves are crashing over the top, I mean, you can see there's a heap of water all over the kayak at the moment, and that's a problem for me. So hence why, generally speaking, I'll stay away from doing you know, the heavier weathered kind of fishing sessions in this kayak. But that's the main three or four. You know, the flat bottom makes that slapping noise. It's also, you know, gets blown around a fair bit. Its light nature means that there's potential for it to tip. You do have a high center of gravity with all your gear up there, so you know, whilst it's very stable on these kind of situations, that you can stand up and all that kind of stuff, in an ocean going situation, look, I just don't recommend it. And the other one is oh, hang on, am I on? No. And the other one is, with all your gear up here, if it does tip like I did last time, you lose a heap of gear. Right, you don't have any of the gear that's sitting in the hole like Dusty's does, giving you that peace of mind that at least the gear under those hatches is going to be safe. So that seemed a little bit doom and gloom, but the pros, because it's light, it is an awesome kayak for me in the Jimny. And one of the big reasons why I went with this kayak, like I mentioned before, is because of the weight. Unrigged, it's just over 20 kilos. With the H rails and the sounder and stuff like that, I'd say it's probably closer to maybe 22. And that's inside the roof load limit of the Jimny. It's so easy to just slide up and slide down. I would like to get a trailer eventually, just for convenience sake maybe, but I don't really feel the need to. Like, it's not a crazy necessity. And I do really like it. Now, if you don't put the hay trails on, they're easily stackable, which is really good. When it comes down to stability in calmer situations like this, it's fantastic. Oop, get into the box. You know, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, like, you know, you can you can stand you can stand up. No problems whatsoever, you know, and it's all good. All right, so stability wise, that's not a problem. What I usually do when it's not like that out there, because it looks like it's pretty gnarly out there, is I actually will find a spot where I want to drift past, like somewhere like this, and if I want to flick into the structure, then I'll just sit there and just drift along, just flick, sit back down, paddle back to the start, and then just repeat. And that's really good. Whilst it is a bit of a con having all of your gear here, one of the good things is that everything's relatively accessible, and I do like that. I do think that's a handy kind of part of it. But there is the drawback that you've got quite a high centre of gravity, and if you do flip, then the chances are you're going to lose a lot of gear. The other pro is how nimble it is. I mean, like, just with a few kicks, I mean, in comparison to, you're on? In comparison to, I'm going to go over here and see what Dusty's got. I mean, you can see here, just a few kicks, I'm off, and I'm turning on an absolute dime. And in comparison to something like the PA14, it is very, very nimble. You can see how fast it is too. Absolutely screams along the wall. So fast, nimble, light, easy to transport, and a few others. What do we got here? Good size? Let's look. Oh yeah. Not a bad size at all. Very well done, Dusty.
As Lee would say, shuckers and a half probably.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a little spinner.
Spinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Try to catch some of that morning flash.
That's it. So, you know, they're your pros, you know. It is nimble, it is quick, it is easy to transport, you know. It is you know, it's very comfortable. The seat's great, you know. I mean, look, I don't think it's going to be quite as comfortable as something like the Vantage seat that Dusty's got, because that looks like a bloody lazy boy recliner. But at the same time, I mean, I've done fishing tournaments on this, and I've sat on it for 8 hours straight, you know. So not a problem there. I do think that it is very stable for these kinds of situations where it's relatively calm and you're not going to have any issues in regards to the elements tipping you over. So it's stable in the fact of you aren't going to tip it over, if that kind of makes sense. So yeah, so there's the kind of the pros and the cons. Do I think it's worth the $4,500 recommended retail price? Look, if you're after a light kayak that is easy to manage, easy to transport, stacks easily for if you've got multiple, or, you know, easy to kind of store away at home, that's what you're kind of paying for. You know, it is essentially unsinkable because it is that solid foam core. So unlike, say, for example, the PA14, which has bungs in it, that means that if water does fill up the hull, it will sink. But the chance of that happening is pretty slim. And what are you doing to that poor fish? Oh, it's dispatching it. So yeah, you know, that's essentially where it is. Look, I do really like it. Yes, I had a bad experience in regards to tipping over and losing some gear. Yes, it is a shame that kind of happened, and it has meant that I'm not really that confident with this particular kayak to do ocean stuff in any kind of like wind and swell or chop. That does mean that I will do some saltwater stuff, but I'll be sticking to things like squidding and stuff around the marinas and stuff like that, you know. Is this perfect for rivers, estuary, the lake? Yes, really, really good, you know. I do plan on doing a little kayak camp with Dusty at some point over the just before we head into winter, and just on the other side of the band for fires and stuff like that, because I think this is going to be quite an interesting thing to have a small kit with, maybe like a hammock, a sleeping bag and a jet boil, and do like a catch and cook and stuff like that. I think that will be really good. But apart from that though, you know, yeah, I think that's my thoughts in regards to its performance. So I think that's about it. Tell me your experiences with the Lynx, or your other kayaks. If you've gone for a Lynx, tell me why. If you were shied away from going to the Lynx because of some of the reasons that I've said, then let me know. But look, yeah, I think it's an interesting platform, and I do think that it offers a very unique way of experiencing the kayak fishing. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, it's good. It's good fun. Definitely good fun. I've caught way more fish on this than I ever have, you know. Sometimes I'll go down the river or the dam and I'll flick for hours. I mean, in the past, Dusty, I mean, we've gone down for 8 hours and caught nothing. You know, now we're on the kayaks, you know, it's absolutely brilliant. So, yeah. All right, we're going to get back into some fishing. I see him down there coming up. Oh, come here, buddy. There's another one. Yeah, that's a keeper. I'll keep you, mate. You're big enough. There's two. Not the biggest in the world, but there you go. Number two. I'll keep you. Alright, I'll dispatch this one and then we'll go for some more. Enjoy. Change the lure up. Put a little vibe on. There we go. Look at that. Oh no! Son of a bitch. Well, at least the vibe works. The highs and lows of fishing, everyone. As soon as I got the bloody camera on. That's what I need this bloody net for. Alright, I'm gonna keep this on because I reckon I'm gonna get another one pretty quickly on this vibe. Gives them something to chase after. The old Redfin like to be
Great, snagged. Good job, Tony. Something snag on, probably rocks. So this is an old quarry. It's usually fenced off and dry, but there you go. Oh no, I lost me vibe. Oh. Dusty's on. There you go. That's edible. Gilled him? No, it's going in the pot regardless, I think. Hang on, I think I'm on you, mate. Hang on, I've got to get around you. Oh, he's out of your pants. Oh shit, I've got on one right next to your boat. Oh, can you come to your port side? Oh shit. Quick, 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 quick. Oh shit. I'm caught on you as well. Shit. Oh, I'm under your fins. Come here, fish. I can't pedal around because of my one fin. Oh no. What's going on here? Oh, I've got a fish and it's caught underneath you.
What is this shit show?
Can I get it up?
Hold on, let me net more on.
Here we go. Oh, not a bad size either.
Double hook up, eh?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that was funny as. Yeah, that's it. There we go. Yeah, that's a bit bigger. There you go, on the razor's edge. Happy days. This razor's edge Scout 45 never fails. That's not a bad size one actually, that's okay, it's edible. It's not the biggest one in the world, but it goes alright. Head on. Alright, let's get back out there. I'm going to sort this one out and then we'll keep going. What a joke. Oh, this one feels a bit bigger. A little bit bigger. Come on, baby. Oh, yep, there we go. Okay, but come on, come over here, come to Dad. There we go. A little bit bigger, it's a keeper anyway. Alright, there we go. Another one. Happy days. A little bit bigger. I'll sort you out in a second and we'll get back to it. That's 4. That's not too bad. I'm going to have to move around here. I'm going to get blown out to sea. Alright, see you in a sec. Alright, let's see if we can go for another pass. See if they've spooled up. I might be able to go to one. There's that bit of structure there. I seem to be hanging around it. Some structure there. Oh. Yep, on. Yep, so they're hanging around that structure. Come on, it's under the boat. Come here, buddy. This is a bigger one. This is a much bigger one. Hey, Dusty. Here we go. Oh, look at this thing. Oh. Oh, what a fucking stonker. Hey. Oh, what a ripper. Oh. Sorry for my swearing, guys. Look at that. That's getting close to a PB. Holy dooly. Look at this thing. Oh. Look at that. Hey. What a ripper. Holy dooly. Oh, I'll get him unhooked. Oh, wow. That's good. Now we're talking. The double clutch coming through. Oh, he's bloody got himself here. There we go. Look at this thing. Now that is what... Oh, no. Don't even think about it. Oh, I gotcha. Look at that. You beauty. I'm going to measure him up when we get back, but holy dooly, look at that. That is what I'm talking about. That is fantastic. Look at that. Holy dooly. Hey Dusty, check out this, mate. Well, alright guys, so we've been out here for quite a while. The wind looks like it's actually finally starting to die down on the actual lake itself. So we are going to try and move out of this protected area pretty soon, probably in the next 10-15 minutes, and then make our way back to the car. Pretty successful fishing session overall. I mean, a couple of really good fish. I think I've got 6, maybe 7 in the catch bag, which is pretty sweet. And then, yeah, with any luck, be able to fill those up tonight and have a bit of a feed. Either way, I'll see you guys on the other side when we make it there to start packing up. All right, enjoy, and I hope you've enjoyed this little review so far. Either way, I'll see you on the other side. Well, that was a pretty tough paddle on the way across. The wind is still up. We've managed to get back across. It was a bit of a wet, wild ride, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So we're about to head in. Yeah, wowee, what a day. So a bit of everything, bit of drama, bit of awesome fishing, and yeah. So anyway, look, I hope you've enjoyed this review. The Lynx is a good kayak. You know, I've had a lot of fun on this kayak. I don't necessarily see myself replacing it, but I do see myself getting a second kayak maybe in the future as the kind of offshore kind of thing, because this definitely has its place, which is kind of out here. In particular, river systems, you know, calm estuary, calm lake, things like that. So yeah, absolutely brilliant piece of kit. It does have its downsides, you know, and that's just, I don't think anything is perfect. So yeah, it's the way it goes. It's a bit like the Jimny, really. You know, the Jimny's got its awesome points, and it's got its very clear downsides. But look, thanks very much for watching. As always, guys, please hit that subscribe button. It does help small channels like mine grow. The analytics and the, you know, the algorithms and all that kind of good gas. You know, it really does make a difference. You know, you get ranked up in the algorithm, and you can just kind of grow a bit more. Your stuff gets, you know, put out there for everyone to see. But apart from that, guys, thanks very much. I'm done, and I'm going to go in, pack up, rest my legs for a little bit because I've been pedaling like mad. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you again on the next adventure. We are heading down to Albany, so when this episode comes out, we would have either just been or are actually down there in Albany doing some more stuff with Wildcat Leisure Australia, and also the 4Dive Adventure Show TV. So really looking forward to that. And with any luck, you'll be able to see those episodes on their channels as well. Cool. Enjoy, and I'll see you next one.